Are we seeing the complete collapse of money? Is it starting to go? Is that buckle starting to come undone? Maybe. Gold and silver are continuing to rise in price, all-time highs, nearly £3,000 an ounce for gold, which is mad, absolutely crazy. And silver at 36 plus an ounce. And for US dollars, closing in on that 40 and 4,000. Absolutely mad where things are. Is something going to give and we're going to see a pullback? Or is this the start of something even bigger and monumental? I don't want to say shoot the moon, but it really does feel like we're starting to see the death of fiat currency. Some real deep down dark problems with our monetary system. And I don't like to be a doom and gloomer, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but do you know what? You can't ignore the facts. And at the moment, it really feels like the only way to protect your money and your wealth is with gold or silver. Troubling times. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to another Precious Metal Ramble, where we have down-to-earth discussions about all things precious and shiny. Where to for now do we go with gold and silver? The prices just seem to be going up and up and up. Is this the start of something quite deep and concerning in our actual money, the money in our bank accounts? Is it devaluing at a faster and faster rate? I am no financial expert, I'm certainly not a financial advisor, but what I can say for sure is, with a little bit of a smug face, and I don't like to be particularly smug about it, but I've been stacking for 10 years and some of the gold and silver that I've got has tripled, if not more, in fact more now from some of the earliest pieces of gold. And I do have a little bit of a smug face on when I look over at my gold and silver stack and feel quite contented in where we are. But also, I also feel pretty downtrodden in the fact that it spells, in my mind anyway, a really troubling time for actual cash, for money in our banks and the value and the buying power of that money in our bank accounts, or, and I've got a little bit of it here, the actual physical cash that we have in our wallets. So where are things headed? For gold and silver, for cash, I hope to be able to just have a little bit of a chat about that and see where things might be for me as a stacker and my own strategies. I can't tell you what to do with your money. I'm certainly not a financial advisor, but I can say with, I'm sorry to say, a little bit of a smug face on that the writing was on the wall a while ago, wasn't it? And gold and silver have only got one way to go, and that's up. In fact, shall we check the live gold and, well, gold price? Let's not do both because it will be far too boring for this YouTube video. But oh my goodness, it has gone up since this morning. It was 2,940 this morning, and it's £2,969.74 Great British pennies. I bet that's pretty close to the $4,000 mark. Yeah, we are nearly there for the US dollars. 3,985 and 53 Great American cents. That's pretty crazy. And the craziest thing about this is if we just go and put a 3-month chart on here, gold has gone up 20% in a month, in 3 months, beg your pardon. That's mad. That is absolutely bonkers. For any investment to go up that much over that period of time, that's very good to see. In Great British pounds, we can see it's gone up 22%, which means I'm afraid to say that the Great British pound has fared less well than the US dollar, which is pretty typical, if you ask me, of the current state of the UK. But that's not what my channel's about. Politics can go and sit on the other side. So, to our main question, is this the beginning of something more? Are we seeing the downfall of our currencies? What strategies can we glean from this as stackers, whether you have an established gold and silver stack or whether you are looking to protect some of the money that you've got in your pockets right now? As I said, not a financial advisor, just here to have a ramble. Love to hear what you've got to say, so please feel free to comment down below. Now, difficult question to answer because, first of all, we can't see the future. Second of all, I have the beautiful hindsight of a stacker's head on my head. So if I had nothing right now and I was looking to buy, I would probably still be wanting to buy because I'm looking at the prices as they're going up over even just a daily basis, weekly basis and monthly basis, and I'm feeling that there's something amiss with money and I would want to protect that money. Now, whether you're brand new into gold and silver or not, you can all agree that it is a good thing to own it, but you have to buy it in the right way. So for example, not going and buying silver with VAT, buy gold sovereigns, fractional stuff. I've been talking about being fractional in your gold for the last nearly 2 years. I saw this writing come on the wall when we were around about £2,200 an ounce, and now we're £500 an ounce more. It is mad how much it's gone up, and you do need to have this fractional stuff, otherwise the big stuff is just too expensive for people to buy. And a sovereign right now closing in on £700 for a sovereign. I remember the very first ever sovereign I bought was £180. You see how the growth happens there. It's absolutely mad. We are very proudly sponsored by Trusty Metrics, who are the UK's exclusive supplier of the Sigma precious metal testing machines. They are fantastic bits of kit, worth their weight in gold, in my opinion. They've helped me grow my business and my stack and have that peace of mind that all the gold and silver that I own and that I buy is indeed real gold and silver. Something that if you're a business is imperative, but if you're a stacker, that peace of mind, as I said, is worth its weight in gold. Now, Trusty Metrics are a fantastic organization, a small family-run business that provides customer service second to none. And I have first-hand experience of getting their technical help and expertise when I've been trying to test big chunky bars of silver like this, or just getting to grips with how the machines run. They are always there. I mean, they've been fantastic for me, even on weekends, to get prompt answers for just simple queries. They are a non-pushy organisation, and they have and continue to work with businesses and investors to make sure that the machines that they get are right for them. So if you're interested, you can go and see their website with the full range of machines that they have on offer. And if you're interested, reach out to them and tell them that Backyard Bullion sent you their way. Thank you once again to Trusty Metrics for sponsoring our channel. And now back on with our precious metal ramble. So, what about right now, prices? Is there going to be a pullback? A lot of people, and quite a lot of people have been messaging me, asking me about, do I think now is a good time to buy? And of course, I can't say yes or no because I'm not a financial advisor, but what I will always refer them to is their own circumstances, their own reasons for wanting to buy. If you're looking to buy right now and hold this for 20 years, then there is no better time to buy than today, in my opinion. Now, you can try and time the markets up and down, but that's not really often very practical, and you'll often miss out on various things. And in fact, I'm going to say a little story in the second half of the video. So for you cool kids clubs, you need to listen in, because I tell you a little story about how I got ripped off by an unscrupulous customer. So yeah, greed can be a big thing, and timing the markets, and people don't necessarily understand how that works. And anyway, more on that in a moment. Timing the markets is impossible. You just have to make that decision and buy. If you've made that decision, good for you, well done, you're in the club. If you haven't got any yet, is now the right time to buy is a different question entirely that I can't truly answer. But what I will say is that I've been buying gold for 10 years, and I've been buying gold incrementally at all-time highs all along the way. I remember when it was expensive at £1,200 an ounce, £1,500 an ounce. When we broke the £2,000 an ounce mark, I was flabbergasted. I was like, my God, this is manic, crazy. And now we're 2,500, 2,006, 7, 8, 9. We're nearly at £3,000 for an ounce. And I can't believe we're at that point already. And it does spell, in my mind, deep, probably dark problems ahead for this stuff, for actual cash. Well, not necessarily actual physical banknotes, but money, cash, physical fiat currency, whether it's physical or in a bank account, made up numbers on a screen. The only thing that I think is real these days is the stuff that you hold in your hands. And that is the most important thing. This wealth protection mechanism here is invaluable. And it's outperforming wealth protection at the moment. It really is. And that's the kind of point that I want to just finish on this segment of the video, to say that there could well be a pullback. So is now the right time to buy at these all-time highs? I'm not going to say that there is definitely going to be a pullback, but at some point things have got to pop, things have got to break. I talked about the everything bubble in a video not that long ago. Cryptos at all-time highs. Of course, gold and silver at all-time highs. Other stocks and shares are at all-time highs. My shares and stocks portfolio is up ridiculous amounts at the moment, and it just seems never ending. You know, you log in and you see bigger numbers every single day, it seems, and it's crazy. There are peaks and troughs, and there are some stocks that do better than others, of course, but it's absolutely manic right now, and I do think we're in this really weird period. And I had this discussion with my friend the other day that actually what it all really means is we're seeing the devaluation in real time of our money, of our currency, of our cash. So, yeah, now is a good time to buy? Will there be potentially cheaper elements of gold and silver at some point in the future? Yeah, if there is, buy more. Without giving financial advice, in the dips, you buy more. I've got a business head on. I've got a stacking head and a business head. I buy silver to melt for my poured silver business. And here's my little plug for my own products. See, I don't like plugging my own stuff, but I will have to do it every now and again because it is a business. I've got gold and silver up for sale on our website right now. Am I too worried that there's still little bits of silver and gold in stock? No, because this stuff's going up in value every day. I haven't actually changed my pricing on these yet. They haven't gone up. They are still the same, so they're a much better price relative to spot price. And in fact, for these tri-packs of 1 gram gold bars, they work out at £116 a bar, which is a lot less than you'll pay for proper machined bars. I think the Diwali bars on Atkinson's bullion site right now are £124. So you can buy some of my stuff, limited edition, handmade, for a lot cheaper. Same with the poured silver. Right now I'm looking at sourcing all of my silver supply for 2026. Am I going to go and buy it all in one go? No, I'm not, because I do genuinely think that there'll be some price points that will be better off. And that's the gamble that you have to take as a stacker. You buy what you can afford each week, each month, each year, if you're going on a yearly basis, and then you just average it as you go along. If you go all in on something, you're putting more eggs in that basket potentially to set yourself up for failure. So from my perspective, and also I can't go and physically buy all of the metal required for 2026 because each year I pour something like 65 kilos worth of silver, and at the moment that's a lot of money to go and buy all in one go. So it has to be piecemeal. Same with gold. We probably sell 25 grand's worth of gold products every year. So and that's at old gold prices. To resource the new gold, and it's going to be hard. So yeah. The changing markets are unpredictable, and you're at a whim of them. Like, they go up, they go down. And this is where I'm going to finish my little story for you Cool Kids Club and people who really care about this stuff. That I got ripped off like 4 weeks ago. And I say ripped off. I'm not actually technically out of pocket. I'm out of pocket in terms of my time and my services. So for anyone that has followed the channel for a while, you know that I do an intermediary selling service. So I will help people find buyers for their precious metals. We get buyers a little bit of a better price than if they were to buy from a dealer. We get sellers a better price than if they were to sell to a dealer. And a customer got in touch and wanted to look to sell some of his gold and silver. And we actually met the guy, picked up all this stuff, and it was a Friday morning. I said, I'll get to it at some point either today or over the weekend. And I found some time during Friday afternoon, got it all sold around like 2 o'clock. And it was a significant sum, 25 grand's worth all told, of gold and silver combined. And I sent him his invoice at the end to say, look, this is it. Thank you very much. I'd like to have my bill paid, please. And I wake up the next morning to basically a snotty email saying that I should have waited until the market closed because gold and silver were going up in price. And he feels that he's been hard done by because now gold and silver are worth more than they were at the time that I sold them. And I was like, that's not how things work. And eventually I just decided, you know what, I'm going to fire the customer. So I refunded him his deposit and didn't even chase him for any more money. Now, a lot of you might say, why did you do that? You let him get away with it. He's ripped you off. He's going to blatantly do that again, or he's done it already. He's the kind of person that does that. Sure, maybe he is. But you know what? Life's too short. I really can't be bothered with people like that. It's not the kind of person I like to do business with. And I just didn't want anything more to do with the chap. I actually also didn't want anything to do with the karma of his money in my bank account. And it gives me no end of pleasure to see silver at £5 an ounce more today than it was when we sold his 500 ounces. And it gives me no end of pleasure to see gold at nearly £300 an ounce more expensive than when he sold his nearly 3 ounces worth of gold. All told, he's probably out of pocket, maybe close to £4,000 for having sold when he did and not keeping it. From my perspective, I like that. It's a bit vindictive, I know, but I'm not really that kind of a person. I don't often like to gloat in other people's misfortunes. But he made the decision to sell. We helped him do it. He was an arse about it. He ripped me off. As I said, I wasn't out of pocket in terms of finances. I didn't outlay any cash, so I'm not out of pocket in that sense. But I put a lot of hard work in over a Friday afternoon. I had my kids with me as well, and I took some time away from spending time with my kids to get it done so that I could have a nice weekend with the kids. And instead, I wake up to that in the morning. And you know what? It's a sign of the times, and it is a sign of society's degradation and the fact that there are people out there who are just out for it themselves. And the way I left it with the customer was just like, I've refunded you everything. If you choose to pay anything for your fees, then please do. Because at one point in an email, he'd said that he feels that, that I've done a lot of work for him and some of the fees that we've paid in deposit should still stand. He just wants to readdress the balancing payment because he's out of pocket to the sum of close to £500 out of pocket, as if like I knew where things were going to go. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, I said to him, if silver price had dropped in the intermediary period, would you be refunding all of your customers the difference that they might say they feel hard done by? No. You just can't win with some of these people, which is why I didn't want anything to do with his money, his karma, or anything. And look what's happened afterwards. So we can all thank this customer for the massive monumental increase in silver and gold prices. Karma's a bitch. I'd say that would be the perfect Cool Kids Club comment, but I feel like that might get a lot of you auto-blocked on the comment section. So let's just say karma is we need something a bit more like karma for gold and silver. There we go. There is your Cool Kids comment for today. Karma for gold and silver. And that will be all we have to say. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've had an enjoyable time here on our Backyard Bullion channel. If you're watching to the back end of the video for the very first time and you don't know what the Cool Kids Club is, you just need to quote me that comment, because as we march on towards 100,000 subs, I might well just pick a video at a random time. I'm actually thinking I might do it relatively soon, actually, and find a cool kid comment and then pick you to win a prize. I don't know what that prize will be. It might be an ounce of silver, it might be a piece of my poured silver. Who knows? It's worth doing, and it helps our channel grow and continue to grow. That's it from me. We'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.